The Maple Leafs get back in the win column with a shutout victory over the Devils. Hey everyone, welcome to Inside the Leafs. Rob Wong, joined alongside by Toronto Sun Maple Leafs writers Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan. And go figure, guys, the Maple Leafs are without nearly $40 million worth of players and find a way to shut out Sheldon Keefe's New Jersey Devils 4-0 on home ice. And one thing that has definitely stood out the last few days, Terry, has been the power play, which seemingly has found its stride after the firing of Marc Savard. Yesterday was even more impressive, getting a power play goal, of course, without some of those star players. But what have you seen from the man advantage that might be different than maybe what it looked like just a few weeks ago?
Well, they're getting better penetration on the inside. They're pressuring. And pressure is the right word, but last night we saw it. New Jersey collapsing a bit in the defensive zone when the Leafs had the puck, and didn't have much of a fight back of what the Leafs are able to do, whether they're throwing it around on the perimeter or getting into the inside. And they get one power play goal, they come within a second of another one, and it's like Berube said, it's crisp. There's clearly some confidence and conviction with the way they're playing now. And like they say, it takes one, and they're 12 for 90 under Savard. They're 4 for 10 since. Will you keep going at a 40% clip? I don't think so. But the fact they were able to get, let's say, two last night, although it was a second off, without Nylander and Matthews, has to be encouraging. Of course, why wouldn't it be? And you would think that when one or both are back in the lineup, you can keep this going, because obviously there's such integral cogs with it. But yeah, it's now that it's rolling a bit and clicking, let's see where that confidence takes them. But they should be able to build off it. Finally, Berube and Steve Sullivan have some positive tape to show the group and say, okay, here's what we're doing well. But they know. I mean, they're out there. They know what they're doing. So good on them. And they're going to need it going forward. Like Terliving or Berube, one of them said last week, the lack of power play goals cost them a few games, a few points in the first few months. And they need to really rectify that to help their playoff chances here in the second half.
With Terry on a couple of things, I didn't think the Leafs were as horrible as a last place power team in the NHL. To Terry's point, neither I think are they going to go at 40%. But a little puck luck goes a long way too. That's sticking with you. I mean, we heard Berube say all the time, "Stick with it, stick with it." And of course, he was moving. He was hurting himself, I think, by moving people all over the place. A little bit of continuity there last night. Much different, of course, with three big names off it. You know what? And you're giving people a chance to show what they can do with the man advantage, and they're filling in. And I think the Leafs are drawing some penalties too. They're getting moving their feet, drawing some chances, and it is quite refreshing to see that almost the entire power play being spent in the opposition zone versus trying to come back. They were very static, very difficult, breaking in, gaining possession, that kind of thing. And they do have some talented people. It's starting to show, and guys are taking advantage of roles that they haven't before. And even though it was a second later, I think who'd have thought Nick Waugh would be would help the power play, his goal coming just as the one ended last night. But there's a big body you can throw to the net, and good for them for finally breaking out of
Well,
this.
a couple of guys have been definitely finding their footing of late, and Nick Robertson and Bobby McMann have been playing some impressive hockey. I thought Nick Robertson looked especially good in that win over New Jersey. He's been physical pretty much all year, Lance, but was even throwing the body around a little bit last night in that game. But he's known for his offensive capabilities and has been showing that. And same with Bobby McMann, who picks up yet another goal on the power play, of course. When you look at these two guys right now, who do you think is more integral to this Maple Leafs lineup?
Well, you look at the both. I think their ice time was almost identical last night, 14 minutes and change. And you know what? When Robertson scores, he's obviously much more valuable. When he throws his body around, I mean, there's not a lot there in his physical makeup, but he gets a good head of steam up, and he can take a piece of people, and I think that certainly helps. McMahon's always had that range. I think you're seeing him use his speed as well. And on a night when they're first time in a decade, I think that they didn't have Nylander, Matthews, and Marner in the lineup at the same time. That really gives these guys a chance to shine, and they do have. You know what? They're not going to replace some of that high-priced power, and they're given the chance with the right line mates. I think they can generate something. McMann especially. I mean, we were all very enthusiastic about this guy, and he kind of disappeared early in the year. I think Terry might back me up on this, that he sat a game too to have a. To reset. So good for them that in a situation where guys are out and now it's a situation where they need these guys if they're going to stay in the playoff race. They delivered.
Yeah, with both of them, fitting that Robertson sets up McMann for the first goal to get the Leafs going, and just. Like Berube said last night about Robertson after the game, the effort's never the issue, right? He's always going, and yes. Like Lance said, he's got that ability. Not the biggest guy, but that doesn't matter. A lot of small players have made an impact in the game, and he can. He's not, he might bounce off people sometimes, but he's certainly not afraid to get in there physically. And you don't expect Nick Robertson to bowl people over, but like Lance said, you get a piece of guys every so often. They know you're out there, and. He just has that water bug ability, and we saw it in full force last night. And there was a lot of talk earlier on about trading him. I was always one of the ones that thought, no, you can't. You have to be patient, and they're seeing the fruits of that. Now, there's a lot of hockey to be played. Obviously, the second half of the season still waits, but he's been good, and there's no reason to think that he can't keep this going no matter who's in the lineup. And as for McMann, important for him to get on the inside last night, like we talked about in that first goal, kind of a continuation of what the Leafs have been doing, whether at 5-on-5 or on the power play. And more the encouragement for him to, the reminder, if you will, from Berube and the staff, you're a big man, use it. Use it to your advantage, because in the NHL, the way it's played now, that physicality can really go a long way. Dakota Joshua, too, for his sake, when he is in the lineup. But Bobby McMann is a guy that can play that way, most effective that way. And really, there's absolutely no reason for him to be a perimeter player by any stretch of the imagination. So, for both of them, it's a great way to end the calendar year. Keep this going. There's no reason why you can't. Again, I suppose if you're a player, it can be a little bit tiring to see tape coming at you in the video room, and things aren't going so well. And for a lot of Leafs, it didn't for the first few months. But the recent evidence suggests that each of these players should be going forth with confidence.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So keep it going. There's no reason not to.
I think that game McMann missed was his suspension, actually, upon further review. So.
That was the one gamer, right? At some point.
Yeah, the high stick in that game against Tampa Bay, I believe. But since then, he's definitely gotten pretty good on the score sheet, and we'll look to continue that into 2026 when the Maple Leafs open up the calendar year against the Winnipeg Jets at home at Scotiabank Arena. As always, leave your thoughts in the comments section below. For Lance Hornby and Terry Koshan and Rob Wong, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next year.